people, comment, smash the like button, all of that good stuff. Appreciative to all of you that tuned in. What go wonder, it's a fantastic fight for the
I think it's like there's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like there's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like
people deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian, right? Like the big man just said there. Happy Friday, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. People deluded, I'm back again. If you're new, welcome. If you're a regular supporter, you know your love is always appreciated, whether you're locked in on YouTube or Twitch. Twitch gang 4:30, maybe slightly earlier. We're going to be playing Football Manager together, people. Obviously on Sunday, check that, I've posted it. It's linked to the YouTube message, the YouTube comments. We're watching Newcastle versus Arsenal together. Later today, obviously with Kendall, who's a Newcastle fan, I will be previewing Arsenal-Newcastle. If you follow me on social media, which you should, especially Twitter, we've asked for some topics you want us to cover. So busy day. I believe the 3 o'clock kickoff with Man City tomorrow is actually televised, so we'll be doing a watch along for that. Any comments, thoughts, talking points, etc. you have to say, please get them in. We've been linked with Zubimendi, Musa Diaby, 150 million budget to spend, and I know a lot of you have a couple of things to say about that. Imagine that. And again, big up Muay Thai, big up DG, 150 million now. You know we ain't getting Rice, Caicedo, etc. What I will say is, obviously, I do think 150 million can get you players. Obviously, when you're looking at the household names, the Declans, Rice of this world, the Caicedos, these kind of man, they come with a massive premium. But at the same time, as much as football clubs are earning a lot of money, it's not just because a man costs 50 million. It's not like Football Manager or FIFA where it costs 50 million. You have to run the 50 million. Big clubs will go out of business. There's all different payment schedules and things like that. What you do have to consider more time is you don't just have 150 million for transfer fees. You have to budget in, wages and things like that. So 150 million, you shouldn't necessarily be scared by the title, in my opinion, or what the headlines are saying. But it does feel like we need to push the boat out a bit more. We have money. We've shown with Mudryk and Caicedo's failed bids. There's P's there. Champions League's going to be here. From a footballing point of view, we've built up since the Emirates have started, unfortunately, we've always been a couple of pennies short of a pound. We've had a couple of good crop of players. We just need this, that, and the third, and we could go clear. Same with now. We've got a good base. It's just about bringing some players that lift the curtain of our squad, and also about getting some squad players so that our level is here and it goes above, or it stays there, which is quite good. It doesn't go below that, really and truly. We need 250 million plus. I'm seeing United being linked to Mbappe and Osimhen. What are Arsenal doing? I don't know if they'll get them, but yeah, I'm all for sensible signings approach, but we haven't secured any of our big targets in a while. We need to land at least one. If it was 250 million, I'd be more impressed. I hear you lot, man. Smash the like button. DG, what combination would you prefer? Rice and Zubimendi, or Caicedo, Rice, or Caicedo and Zubimendi? Big up yourself every time. Big up the YouTube members, 2-3 appreciative. Some questions just shouldn't be asked, man. I would say all of them. Caicedo, Rice would be lit. Rice, Zubimendi. You know what, yeah? I'll probably change my mind. I think it would, if anything, it's going to be a Rice and Zubimendi thing, but I'm going to say Caicedo and Zubimendi. Under 80's got another hammer in. Boy, if we want to win the title, at least 200 million. I mean, it's about spending correctly. Now, don't get it twisted. I do want us to spend big money and get players that lift the curtain, but it's about doing it right. If big money signings was everything, we'd have gone clear with 52 million on Lacazette, Pepe signing, big money in terms of Willian on a free. The same goes for Spurs with Ndombele and Richarlison. Chelsea just spent a couple countries' GDP, and in the future, then players might look good. Where are they in the table? So it's about buying the correct players. Of course, I want sexy signings. I want, as a fan, you want to get gassed. You want players that we all want, but it's all about making the correct ones. I don't know if we're going to go for household names. I don't know if we're going to go for lesser profile, unknown entities that can improve our squad, because everyone's got to start somewhere. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where was Caicedo? Now everybody's onto him. Mudryk, whether he's good or not, where was he? Now DG, Zubimendi and McAllister would bang. Imagine Odegaard, Zubimendi and McAllister, that rival City. It don't look like we're in for McAllister, if I'm honest with you. We also need one top centre-back and one top-class striker. I'm all for bringing in a more physical striker, and I do think we need another centre-back, really. My dream, it's not really a dream, that's probably overdoing it, but there's I forgot what country he's from. I think he's Japanese. I could be wrong, and I mean no disrespect, but the centre-back at Napoli, I think he'd be decent to kind of, we've been linked with Gurhi. I'm having that as well, but I think the lad from Napoli would be a good option. He's experienced relatively. He's of a right age. He's a bit like Tomiyasu, who just does his job. He stays fit. And I think that's a good person that could be used in some games and that can push Saliba and Gabriel, really. That's his name, Kim Min Jae. I can't pronounce his name. I don't mean no disrespect, but he'd be decent. The problem is he's probably linked with a couple of other clubs. What about Rice and Telemans? Remember, I said that. Again, you don't know, but it seems like our club might have moved away from the Zubimendis of this world, and man says Zubimendi, of the Telemans of this world, and the Neves and these little guys. As a United fan, I would argue 150 million quid isn't going to be enough. Arsenal are trying their best to succeed in the title charge. In my opinion, no UFO here is absolutely spot on, in my opinion. Not clue what the UFO tick means, but appreciative to you tuned in. Again, as I said, sorry, people, the Ethernet cable's not even in. I would love lit signing. South Korean, apologies. He's welcome. He is welcome at the carpet, in my opinion. It's about the right signings, isn't it? Odegaard was smart business, 30-odd million quid. I know it's a youngster thing, but Martinelli didn't cost that much. Saka didn't cost that much. We spent big money on Benjamin White. That's been vindicated. Saliba at the time. So I'm all for the right signings, because I don't just want shiny new toys. Again, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Man United, they've all spent big money. And none of these, especially Spurs, because they've never did it. But if you asked all of these fans, are there clubs where they want to be? Probably not. Bring me Ivan Toney or Watkins. I wouldn't mind Watkins, but Ivan Toney would be the one really for me. Rice, Mount, Kudus, Toney, Fresneda, under 200 million done. I don't know, man, because you got to factor in the wages as well in the transfer things. Rice is going to be on big money, probably near the top ends of our potential earners. The same, right? That's why I don't think we're going to get Mount, really. Could probably say that to him. Kudus, I'm here for it. Ivan Toney, here for it. Fresneda, here for it. Would you take Vlahovic? Personally, I want Toney. Yeah, I'm still having Vlahovic, if I'm honest with you, because one does wonder. I know he's still scoring goals, but he's not exactly setting the world alight. I always wonder what Arsenal would have looked like had we have got Caicedo in January, Douglas Luiz in the summer, Rafinha in the summer, Mudryk in January, and obviously Vlahovic. These are the guys you'd probably say are the missed sort of type signings, really. But I'm having Toney, man. I think he's Premier League proven. I think he does the Jesus Lacazette thing in terms he's got general play. He can take penalties. He can hit free kicks. He's got that swagger. He's a dog in a nice way that he's just with it, really and truly. Like, he's not really phased. There's so much upside to Toney. I just don't know how much he would cost, really. Mitoma and Brighton were all over us yesterday. Yeah, I watched that penalty from Luke Shaw bugging out. Allow Mount, every time I see him, he's disappointing. I like Mount. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a bit of a, I won't quite say blank canvas, but he needs to discover himself as a footballer, a bit like when we brought Odegaard here. As you know, Mason Mount has played everywhere, because of he fits a lot of what coaches want tactically. You've seen him occupied out wide for club and country. He can play in the 10. For me, he's an 8. And, if he's a blank, I think Arteta could get a decent player out of Mount. Where I think it's a myth, it's not my money, but Mount obviously might not be a key player for Chelsea, but he's won the Champions League. He's done a lot of things. He plays for his country. He's going to want big money. Chelsea are trying to get him to commit to a new deal. You're looking at 200 odd grand a week. Now, like I said, I don't care what a man gets. It's nothing to do with me. But we finally somewhat turned the corner with mismanaging our resources. That will kind of set us back. Again, if Mount comes and does the business, that's great. And at his age, clubs that buy him probably going to want him to sign a 3, 4, 5 year deal. The problem is, with us probably tied down Saka, trying to tie down Saliba, got Martinelli, you bring in a Rice, Mount is going to want to be near them owners, them earners there. And I don't know if you're worth that at this moment in time. We're paying at 90 for Rice. That leaves us with 60 million for the rest of our transfer business. But have faith in the process, as United spent 89 million on Ballot Star Anthony. I like Anthony. He just got a lot of bad habits. You see with Anthony, I've said it before, He's one of them players, yeah. He's either going to go up so many levels or he's going to, what he's doing now for Man United, he's just going to do that for years, really. But I think Ten Hag will get something out of him. DG, to your knowledge, are any clubs besides United potentially linked with Matoma from Brighton? I mean, his name's always going to be thrown in the papers, really. I'm sure he's a player everybody's looking at. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the Asian players, African players, South American players, whatever, you know, anybody of any nationality at Brighton, Irish in Ferguson. He's a guy, you know, Brighton, I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what their scouts are doing, but everybody's onto their players. So you'd imagine. It appears, though, that Mitoma seems to be the one that's going to leave. Caicedo, you know, you have to put big money down. I think they'll hold on to Mitoma for at least one more season, but you never know. Money talks in this world. Would you prefer Tony or Osimhen? Actually, Osimhen, but I do think Tony would fit Arsenal a bit more, if I'm honest with you. I think he more fits. I think his general play is actually better than Osimhen's, but Osimhen, again, he's a dog. He just wants to score goals, and Arsenal have been linked with him since he was 17, as the man himself said. DG, it might not look like we're heavily linked to McAllister, but I believe once the window opens and if West Ham asks for some dumb price for Rice, don't be surprised if we grab McAllister. I mean, if you look at reports, apparently it's 70 million for McAllister still. So 70 million for McAllister, 75 all the way to 100 with Rice. Not that much of a difference. I'm off school for the weekend, so I have lots of time to kill. Big up yourself, man. Appreciate you for being tuned in. For me, the same. Caicedo and Zubimendi is what I want. I think Zubimendi, I don't know why he doesn't get the hype that Caicedo and Declan Rice get when linked to us. Now, obviously, he's obviously playing in Spain. Majority of football fans are watching English football. Probably that's. DG, do you trust Arteta with 150 million? Yeah, because I think under Arteta, don't get it twisted, you know, he's made some poor signings, you know. Ferguson made poor signings. Wenger made poor signings. He'll make poor signings again. No matter how much you do your due diligence, sometimes players just don't work. Obviously, Arteta has to hold the L with Pablo Mari, with Willian, with Cedric. At this moment in time, Tavares and Lokonga. I might be missing out at Runnison. But when you spent money, like the big money, 50 million on Benjamin White, it weren't big money, but, you know, there's still question marks over Ramsdale, but everyone can agree he's calm. There was a lot of question marks. Them lot worked. Odegaard came in for a lot of heat. That's worked. Trossard's worked. Jorginho still doing what he needs to do. Fabio Vieira, the jury's still out, but at least the jury's still out on the youngest players, where if nothing more, smash the like button, people. At least there's some resale value with Fabio if worse comes to worse. And I think, you know what, if Fabio Vieira starts looking like the Fabio we brought, I might be looking at bringing in another number 8 a lot differently, if I'm honest with you. Lokonga, I don't think we'll make our bread back, but you can, it's not the end of the world, really and truly. The same with Tavares. So I have faith. I do think in the same way, Arteta, for me, has set himself high expectations. So when he does well on the footballing field, I praise him. When he does something dodgy, I have to criticize. The same with Saka, Jesus, all of the players. Edu has done a lot of good work. But now, because I believe in what Edu's doing, this is where I'm looking at you now with the Champions League, because obviously, you don't always get your big money signings. You don't always get signings. We've shown with the failed pursuit of Mudryk. We've got Trossard. I think Mudryk will show his quality for Chelsea, but right now we're moving in it. I think for Edu, you've got to, like somebody said in the comments, I think you've got to get Arteta one of his top targets. And I don't know if this makes sense, but, and again, it's very difficult because from a tactical point of view, for the players and Arteta, we're watching that end. We can see what has gone wrong. We don't know what Edu is and his team are doing or not doing. We don't know how hard or not they're trying. So it's difficult to criticize. But I think you need to deliver a top target. And I think the timing of things, like we're trying to get Douglas Luiz the last couple of days of the window. You know, Villa are never going to go for that. Caicedo, the same logic in January. And as I've said, you know, Rafinha, when you read the Athletic reports, no matter how much Arteta and Edu liked him, we was behind Chelsea and Barca at the time. Now, he did get Jesus, who had interest elsewhere, but I think he's got to go out and get one of them signings. And it's a big summer for Arsenal from a sporting point. As you know, as I said, we're in the Champions League. Personally, this league challenge thing, I want to, next season, you want to finish in the top 4, we need to consistently get Champions League. Obviously, you would love to go one better than currently where we are in the table. I want to go as far as we can in the FA Cup, the League Cup, whatever have you. And obviously, we're going to need players to do that, really. So we're going to need to get a move on. He's going to have to get top targets. We're going to have to get players off the books, really. You know, we've got some money. We're going to get into it, but we've got some money because Fulham have stayed in the division. Pablo Mari has basically signed for Monza, because they're staying up. Obviously, we need to address what we're doing. We know Nelson. Nelson could go. He needs to confirm a contract for Nelson. You know, he needs to get Saliba over the line. We need to know Saka is over the line because for all we hear, until he's holding the shirt, we don't know. You need to address the Pepes, the Cedrics. Again, this is all a waste of resources, essentially. So there's a lot of things Edu has to do. And obviously, every club would say they can't do everything in the summer. But we need to make significant business, make significant progress and make significant business happen. For me personally, as much as I want a right back, I want a right-sided centre-back, which I think both are vital. I would like maybe a right winger if you could do it, a more physical striker. If nothing more, the midfield has to be addressed. And I think that can only be done with signing another 8 or a 6. Again, we're linked with a whole bunch of names. Onana, Zubimendi, Lavia, Declan Rice, Caicedo, Telemans, Neves. Feel free to interject, really, people. And again, once again, transfer fees, it's not just... Unless it's a release clause, it's not just he costs 50 million, we're going to run you 50 million. But where you look at Moussa Diaby, who's linked with us, conservative bets, it says 50 million euros. Now, if you're Leverkusen, you know the Prem's got money. Are you going to let him go for 50 million? I don't know, but that's 50 million. 75 all the way up to 100 for Declan Rice. You're at least going to have to get bid 70, 80 for Caicedo to get Brighton talking. Fresneda's not going to cost that much, 20 to 30. But again, assuming you get all the other business done, it's going to add up. So I don't know if we're going to go for all of these high-profile names. Maybe we'll be a bit cute and clever and go for lesser profiles that can impact the team in the same way. Maybe we'll explore Telemans on a free transfer. Yes, you'll have to give him big wages. So it's a big summer, man. And I hope the summer transfer market, the business for this season started the minute last window closed, really. A top target, more like 3 top targets plus 4 upgrades, 250 million needed. Who do we sell this season is the question. I don't think there's a need to sell players, bar the obvious, like Ainsley, respectfully, you know, again, Ainsley, Nelson might go, even though I want to keep him, but put asterisk next to his name. Balogun, if he wants to bust out. Balogun, well, let me actually think about this. Balogun, if he wants to leave, you're going to have to let him go, contracted until 2025. He could go on loan again. You get another loan fee, and then next summer with a year left, maybe get a decent deal. But you would say Balogun, if we believe reports, Pepe needs to come off the wage bill. Ainsley Maitland-Niles needs to come off the wage bill. Cedric needs to come off the wage bill. Technically, Runnison needs to come off the wage bill. And these kind of players that everybody knows, these are the kind of guys that need to go. And then you've got players, obviously, that if certain offers are presented, like I'm not selling Smith Rowe, but if an offer is presented, it's something for Arsenal to think about. The same with Kieran Tierney and potentially a couple of others. What you saying about Newcastle away? Shook, bro. But we're going to have to stand up to be counted, bro. So, yeah, I think Lavia is a more realistic signing, especially as he's worked with Arteta before. True, and Southampton going down doesn't help them. Ainsley, Balogun, Neves, Tavares, Lokonga, Cedric. Yeah, see what I'm saying? I mean, ideally, you get Tavares. And I think Lokonga, I will give Lokonga, you either stay for a full season at Crystal Palace or you go Burnley and work under company. You said the next year, Toure. Tavares, get him out of there. He's contracted until 2025, but maybe them lot go out on loan again, Lokonga and more so Tavares. They get us loan fees and we revisit that next summer. I'm not sure. I want a right winger as good as Saka. Hard to find, mate. But I feel we're going to have a Harry Kane situation where quality wingers won't want to come in because they know Saka is nailed on. Well, then I don't want them then, because if you want to play for a big club, you're going to have to take your spot really and truly. City, you know, if you're not doing the business, your spot's gone, really. You know this. So if I hear it and it's logical, but boy, if you don't want to challenge, if you don't want to go to where we need to go, forget about it. You shouldn't sign. We've signed Partey, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Odegaard, White, and Zinchenko under Arteta. Proven track record. That is true. Despite Eddie bottling Bruno. Who's Bruno? I'm not sure who the Bruno guy is, but you said Rafinha, Caicedo, Felix, and Mudryk. And you can also throw Lisandro Martinez. I'd be keen to see what Lisandro Martinez would have looked like had he have signed for Arsenal. I don't think he would have started at left back. I think maybe you would have seen a kind of, on one hand, you see what Ake and Akanji are doing in Stones, where they're basically centre mid, centre backs, and right backs. Maybe Arteta would have done that. I personally think it would have been bad news maybe for Gabriel if he's not going to play, because I think Lisandro wants to play as a centre back. So it would have been interesting, man, really and truly. You know, we also were linked with Conde once upon a time. Oh, Bruno as in Gamares. Yeah, we were fumbling that. Yeah, oh, yeah, brother. The less said on Bruno Gamares, the better in it. Fantastic player, but it's irrelevant, you know. Again, I wish it was FIFA sometimes, because kind of wonder, you know, if you don't want Tierney, give us a Bruno and we can maneuver in it. Whenever I watched West Ham, they were on the back foot defending most of the time. Declan was mostly defensive mid. I didn't notice him making a difference in the 8. How good is he as an 8? I think he's a lot better technically than people gave him credit for, but it is something to consider because whether he signs for us, well, I don't know about Chelsea this season, but whether he signs for us, both Manchester clubs, Chelsea, the way, you know, typically these teams are on the front foot, really. These are the hunters versus the hunted. But Declan is a better technical player than people give him credit for, but essentially, not to discredit him, he's a piano pusher. You know, he did well. He does well for England, but you're next to Bellingham. Bellingham's the piano player. Now, if you think of it as a theatre, for an example, you know, if the piano pusher or the guy, let's say he's the delivery man, the piano pusher, if he doesn't come into that theatre and deliver and lift up the piano and put it there, no one's going to buy tickets and watch the piano player, which is Jude Bellingham. So you can't underestimate it. But I do think Declan Rice would be great for us. He could do the 6 thing. If Arteta says, you know, I want to go with Xhaka, could be groomed into that 8 role, can do us a job at centre-back if required, a bit like Rodri, multifunctional. Exception Arsenal game party, giving the ball away to Declan. Big up yourself, Riley. Elite talking points, people, as usual. I don't listen again. We're getting to silly season. We're going to get linked with dumb players. The transfer budget is going to be silly. You know, how much did we spend last summer? Like maybe 100, just over 100 odd. Had we have got Douglas Luiz, we probably would have got to around the 150 million mark that we're projected to now. So it's all about the right players. There's no point spending 250 million on bullshit, really. You know, in an ideal world, if you can get lesser known profiles like what Brighton are doing, you don't really know their players, they signed their lit, I'm all for that. Equally, if Arteta wants to kind of been doing what he's doing now, where we're signing relatively established players that are going to make the bulk nucleus of our team, I'm all on that. As long as they're competent in their roles, they're consistent. No point being able to do it on Tuesday in the Champs. If it's a must-win in the Premier, you can't do it on the weekend. And, you know, competent, consistent, and ultimately, people underestimate confidence. You need to be confident. Douglas Luiz, what was all that about? Panic buys. People need to remember that garbage. Bit harsh. Bruno Gomares, I can't see Edu and Cole getting Rice or Caicedo, proven. Bottlers, bit harsh, man. Give him a chance. Now, all you do is buy a striker like Tony and push Jesus to right wing to challenge with Saka, keep Balogun and Nketiah for backups. It's true, but Balogun saying I'm not on it. Like, I respect it. He wants to go play football. DJ, have you seen Gabby Vig, bro? He's lit. Needs to improve physically if he's going to play in the Prem, but bring him, Zubimendi, Fresnadar. Bro, we could get out the hood if we just shop in La Liga. I can't lie to you. Lit guy, man. 150 million gets you 2 players. Bang average dudes going for 50 plus. That's also something to think about. Nah, DJ, you sure Caicedo and Zubimendi works? That seems a bit defensive to me. But who would be the 8 out to Drew? I mean, they could both do it. Zubimendi could do it. Just because you're a 6 don't mean you can't pass the ball, you know. Really and truly. And don't forget, we do have Fabio Vieira. We still have Xhaka. I'm bringing both of them. I mean, half the, again, it'll probably be someone we're not linked with that we sign, but half the guys we're linked with, I'm having them. Lavia, there's a use for you here. Caicedo, there's a use for you here. Personally, I don't think we're going to get Caicedo. Rice, there's a use for you here. Not against Telemans. Obviously, Rice and Zubimendi and Caicedo are the guys. You're looking at Telemans a bit funny. I'm not against Ruben Neves. There's probably a bunch of other names, you know. We're here every day looking at these things, people. So smash the like button. Don't forget to do that and keep your comments coming. It's all on Eddie, to be honest. Players want to come. He has just to get Arteta his top targets. Can't blame the Kroenkes anymore. They're backing it. Bro, let's be real. The last maybe 2.5 years, you can't. Any successes or failures have been not really the Kroenkes' fault. Because the money's been there. Now, I'm not criticizing Edu for not bringing Mudryk for the fees. If you think he's not worth it. And right or wrong, that's a good practice I think Arsenal have installed. But you didn't get him in it. If the money's been provided and you ain't come back from the shop with what you need to, it's an L. And that's what Edu's got to learn. No, I'm gassed for Arsenal to be back in the Champs. Smith Rowe 8, why not? Long-term settings, man. But I don't know. Bring McAllister. Bring McAllister. I ain't heard Stephen Bergwijn shouts for a minute, man. If you need a Stephen Bergwijn lookalike, why not? If your baby mum's got a thing for Stephen Bergwijn, shout me, DM me. DMs on Twitter are open, my guy, Dan. Arsenal should shine DG. We'll see you bang. I ain't got no stamina, bro. I criticize Tavares. It's a myth. But yeah, Jesus, I do think if the team keeps going and Jesus, for as good as he is, doesn't get the goals required, because I think as much as we're sharing the goals around and he's got 10 goals and he's had an injury, I do want to see my striker scoring a bit more goals, like a big up Saka, Martinelli and Odegaard. But Jesus, you've got the capacity to outscore them. If you don't, the whole carrot of you signing for Arsenal was to do all of that stuff, but be a 9. I think you'll be a victim of your versatility. And like someone said, indirectly, with Trossard signing and Jesus, you could kind of fill in that right back role, a right wing, role. Sorry. I would be disappointed if we don't get Caicedo, considering the 70 million January bid. Wouldn't make any sense to not try and get him this summer. I think we do, man. I think we do try, but I just think Declan Rice seems the top target. And for me, I think Zubimendi must be, without knowing his personal situation and what he wants to do, just because of the release clause, surely he's the obvious. How do you feel about Smith Rowe? Am I the only one who's kind of losing faith in him? Saka and Martinelli are just clear of him. I kind of feel like he's going to be another Nelson. Smith Rowe FC to the end. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. We're back soon. We're back very soon. And yeah, hey, where's Kay? Yeah, listen, I'm gassed about the Zubimendi rumors, but it has to correlate to things happening. Hey, CS, it's been a while, man. Ogate is welcome, the sporting lad. He's welcome. You're just a ish Stephen Bergerac. That's funny, man. I'm so happy that's never been charted. That was funny, man. How much does someone like Musiala go for in today's market? Bro, realistically, if you're young, if you're talented, that's the biggest buzzwords. As you know, with managers and players, more time for these players. It's what you can be in the future. Even Benjamin White, we bought him off the back of one Premier League season for 50 million because of what he can be in the future. Vinicius was bought for an F-load amount of money and he's doing it for Real Madrid, even though he had some initial struggles. So probably 100 million, really and truly. Like, you know, that madman from United before he did what he did and went jail and things like that. I don't want to mention his name. If he just kept it football, that's rightly or wrongly, that's a £100 million player. Martinelli, Saka, they're going for mad fees. You know, it's not even just them. Pedri, madness. Musiala, madness. You know, half of these guys are going to go for madness. As somebody said, bro, average dons are going for 50-odd million quid. Sigurdsson and that. But again, it also comes down to what you can hustle. You saw Liverpool Banduli for Solanke once upon a time. It's what you can hustle, and that's something I want to see Edu going. I think Jesus would have had 20 goals if he didn't get injured. I believe so too, but I have to go with what I see, and you're not... It's a bit mad, but with Jesus, obviously, I don't get onto my strikers for missing chances. You're going to miss them, even though there are some he should have bagged in that. But for all of Jesus' talents, and he's so much better than Lacazette, I don't know if he's born. I do believe strikers can be made to score goals, but I also think strikers are born with that. And Jesus is wavy. You see what he does, skills, big game player, all of that jazz. But I don't know if I know he's hungry to score goals because he wants to be the number 9. He could have stayed at City and just coasted, but I don't know if he's got that in him if he was born to score goals, really. I think he's got the capacity, but I don't know if you'd have 20 plus goals if you never got injured. I believe so, but I'm not. I'd be lying to you if I said he probably would. Paulinho, yeah, why not? 100 million for Musiala, but he's even struggling right now, as these young players do. He's even struggling right about now. 37 likes, you lot are violating people. Come on, big up the Twitch gang. Big up yourself, Top Blue. How dare you still give me verbal after what my team did to you, but you've been seeing that all week. Zubimendi would be lit, as would McAllister. I love McAllister as a footballer, man. Like, I don't know how Anthony didn't get a red card, then he almost got pumped up by Lewis Dunk yesterday. Wait, the guys like Lewis Dunk, you have to hit him with a Hennessy bottle. That guy's a mountain still. But yeah, he'd be lit. Musiala would be lit, but where do you deep it? Where would he play? Obviously, he would get game time, but where would he play? Because Musiala is one of them guys. He can do everything, innit? He can play as a 10. I think long-term can play as an 8. You've seen him play off the flanks. Where would he... I'm not saying he wouldn't play, but when you break it down beyond being gassed for a new signing and stuff, where would he be? And as quality as he is, does he take us right now to the next level? On one hand, I believe so, because he's got a lot of potential. But it's very different being at Bayern Munich where you got Kimmich, you got this guy, you got that guy. And if you're real, he's kind of been in a bit of a meaty bit of form. Like, you know, again, against City didn't really do much. And as you know, we're not Bayern Munich. So everything you do is going to be more highlighted, like Zinchenko, like Jesus, like Odegaard. DG, what do you think of next season's kit? Irrelevant to what happens on the pitch, but still, Rory, again, you're going to have to send me a link, my guy, because every day I see a new kit. So I'm not sure. If you're talking about the red one, was it gold? I can't even. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's all mad things going on. He's getting in that left wing. I can't lie. When you get that 9, bro, I'm having Musiala. I'm just saying, like, if we rock up in the champs next year, not saying he's not a good player, but like, you Top Blue, you're here. You understand, ball. You know where I'm going with it. Martinelli, Trossard, Tony, Saka, Jesus, Diaby. I'm here for it. That means Nelson. Thanks for the memories, man. Shout out Maverick, big up DG in each and every time. Shout out to you and everyone tuned in. If the rumors are true about the 150 budget, who do Who do we sell to raise that budget, and how much you reckon we can get for our fringe players? Again, it all depends, you know. Again, Teeny, I wouldn't want to sell Teeny because we're going to be in the champs. Again, if we're struggling for peas, why make it that you have to spend more money? But Teeny's, you know, there's not too many sellable assets, and I'm not talking about like. Let's actually go away from the players that obviously their futures are away from the club, like the guys that are not part of it. Balogun want to keep you, but you probably don't want to stay. Probably going to, you know, 35 million euros or something like that. You're not going to get a madness for him at this moment in time. Charlie Patino probably bring in a couple of million if he doesn't want to be here. I wouldn't sell Smith Rowe, but there's that. You could sell Tavares. You should be able to at least double the 8 million we got for him, get in 16 or something. Lokonga probably goes on loan again. I don't think anyone will be trying to give us the money we spent for him back. So there's that. Pepe is just about freeing up the wages, really. So there's not too many. Shame about Nelson rejecting the contract, but I'm glad he's doing that because he's a player who will thrive outside of Arsenal as long as we sell him abroad. Do you know what? On one hand, I think Nelson needs to leave. I think on the other hand, he's keen to stay. But I think also we've got to remember whether he stays or goes, you know, in business, like if you're going to buy a car or if you're going to get a phone contract or if you're haggling at a market or if you go abroad and the locals are selling you something, yeah, pardon me, do you accept the first price? You don't, do you? And Nelson earlier in the season said, things can change, of course, but he said, I want to stay and all of this jazz. Do you accept the first contract? And maybe he's been offered it to our knowledge, but we now know that that's your first official contract offer. So he's rejected it. Didn't Eddie reject a couple? So maybe it's a bit of, you know, I want to see how I can tie into this. And maybe I just don't think it's right, you know, because if I'm a player, I'm going to want a bit more money than maybe the club are prepared to give me. If I'm a club, you're going to try a lowball. Saka's first off-contract offer was rejected. So on one hand, this is just normal practices. Musiala is very sick. Would love him, but that's dreamland. I 100% prefer when we purchase players from the Prem. When we purchase the right players from the Prem, really, because Cedric, Willian, it didn't bang, did it? The right players, man. So it all depends, really and truly, to be honest with you. Elite talking points from you lot. Ainsley, Cedric. Ainsley, we're not getting no money in it. We had an option to take out his contract by another year. We've said no. He's come out and said that. Cedric is just about, like with Pepe, just freeing up the wages. Rennison's not bringing serious bread. Tavares, it's not serious bread, you know, but we should be able to double the 8 million, surely. Pablo Marie, we've got 6 million and his wages off the wage book. So there's not really anyone really. If you watch Jesus carefully, when he strikes the ball, his balance is off. That's when he misses chances. He needs to work on his composure before taking the shot. Right, striker coach, yeah, I hear it. But it is something he needs to work on. DG, we don't need to buy the Smith Rowe dip. We need other teams to buy the Smith Rowe for peas. All right, man, I'm with Smith Rowe to the end. Halen bias. Even when he leaves, I'm still supporting him. I'm still supporting my club. But yeah, when he's back, I'm going to be moving like rats. I told, man. Don't sleep on the boy. Don't sleep on the boy. This season, write-off settings. We're back next year. I'm not saying he's going to be wavy and that, but he's about, man. Don't worry. Listen, when Smith Rowe is back, scoring them deflected shots, when someone just said off balance and the low socks and he's doing the knee slides at Halen, I'll be there. Don't get involved. Don't bread. Don't return. Smith Rowe could learn to be an 8, but I think he's a couple of years away from that. I think out of him, Fabio Vieira, Odegaard, I would want to see Odegaard learn how to do that immediately because I do think Odegaard's potential, I think Odegaard can run the show for our football club. He could be not Santi, that's a big thing, but he could do the Santi stuff. You might rob him of goals and assists and maybe him and Saka and Benjamin White on the right-hand side, but you'd give our team greater impetus. And I think that's the next level for Odegaard. I need to see you running the show like Santi, and I think that's a missed trick. Obviously, Fabio Vieira, I'm going to give you next season, but you could be groomed into that. Smith Rowe, you could do that. Ironically, after Newcastle on the weekend, we've got Brighton at home. If you don't remember last season or the year before, it was definitely last. Was it last year? It must have definitely been last year. It was the right. I think it was the right sort of thing at the wrong time against Brighton. If you remember, we went with Lokonga in the lone 6. That was probably where we're going to fail. And we had Odegaard and Smith Rowe rotated 8s. So it is something to consider. What are you gassing goals when the keeper is down, DG? Well, Top Blue, you lot are gassing Hudson-Odoi's pre-assist. Stop it. The struggle is different. My youngsters really do slappings. You're a Chelsea fan. You know what Smith Rowe does. You should be thanking Arteta. He didn't even let him get his charity goals against you lot. Shut up. Where's Hudson-Odoi? That black who's playing right wing, he's going to get shotted soon, man. He's meaty. Bringing on Conor Gallagher and that at the big Emirates. Shut up, man. We could get some money for Trusty too. He was just named, big up Phil. He was just named Player of the Year for Birmingham. So you're right. Has he not been called up to America? I don't know if we'll sell him this year. Maybe he stays at Birmingham. Maybe he tests himself at a higher level. And if he comes through that, then we get more money, really and truly. Bro, top blue, your team are scrubs, bro. You look gassed up Billy Gilmore, Hodson Odoi, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Lewis Baker, Masonda, and where the fuck are they, lad? Where are they, lad? They shit, lad. Billy Gilmore, bro, they're shit, lad. Stop it, man. Our youngsters, bro, Joe Willett never made it here. He's going and doing his thing. Iwobi's going and doing his thing. Shut up, man. What, because you lot win Youth Champions League, you think your youngsters are good? Get out of here, man. Chelsea shout me, though, if I can get a scouting job. It is what it is. You're buying our youngsters in that. We took your best youngster. You know, your two best youngsters, Eddie and Ketia, scored against you. Shameless settings. And you all know a certain captain at West Ham. You lot released the wrong duck, guys. You still gassing up Mount and that. Make sure we don't take Mount and make him lit, you know. Make sure. Is there a mentality problem with Saka? He suffered a dip in form during the... No, I'm sorry, no. He just had a dip, bro. Like, players are going to have dips, you know. Again, if you look through the whole squad, as great as the players have been, and they've excelled, what players haven't had dips in that squad? I would actually say, if anything, and he probably has, probably Granit Xhaka hasn't had that much of a dip. Odegaard's had a couple of slow weeks. You know, Saka's had that, but it happens, really. You know, it's going to happen. Well, it's difficult to perform for 38 games, and I'm not being funny, but Saka's done it for the majority, and the man just looks a bit spent, really. Like with last year, I wouldn't say it's a mentality problem, or Saka would not be in that starting lineup. You know, for Saka, every year he keeps improving, and he's got every reason to coast. You're getting bare money. Everybody loves you. Number 7 called up with England. Like, nah, man, I don't think it's a mentality problem, man. Why are we giving away Ainsley? I wish I had a clue, bro. I wish I had a clue. Saka is trying every game, just not working out for him at the moment. Nothing to do with his mentality. There you have it, man. Oh, Riley had a comment. There you go. If you've got 150 million, you man have to be smart in the market. All other foreign clubs know Prem has mega Ps, so prices are going to get bumped up by 15, 20. Plus, the new signings have to be right. Look how foolish Spurs signings turned out, e.g. Richarlison. And there you have it. There you have it. Jokes aside, if you man don't want this season to be your version of the Leicester title winning season, it can't be because Leicester actually won the league. You definitely need to buy 30 bagsmen. The likes of Haaland and Kane, regardless of their club's overall performances, have done their job week in, week out. I hear that. I would like just a more physical option because it would help us in terms of defending as well. At Anfield, we couldn't get out. And when you take out Jesus and Odegaard, who dictate the tempo more time indirectly and lead the press, we was in trouble, really. And as we've seen this year, when it starts getting to the latter months of the year, so like October to December, coming out of that January period, this is when the players start looking a bit leggy. There's, you know, different players of form. The games become high emotional. You need a squad, really. So I'm with you for that. I don't think you can, well, you can obviously have too many players, but I don't think you can have too many players. I'd rather have too many than too little. Not like Chelsea, like 20 million guys. You can't see the point where you can't even have a training session. You man are dying out for a Mitrovic/Tony profile. I would say Tony fits us like a glove. I see your angle with Mitrovic, you know, not if he continued like get sent off at Old Trafford and that, but we need a physical guy, and I would like someone like that, I would like someone that strikes fear. Obviously, Jesus and these great players, naturally, you're going to be scared if you're an attacker, but you know, I want to bully if I'm honest. I don't advocate bullying, but Diego Costa, how many games did he probably win for Chelsea and Atletico? Because people know his ears are going to get pulled. Look how I used to bad up Koscielny, and then the original Gabriel stuck up for him and got sent off. We need to be a bit street smart and clever. Like, you go back to the City game, on top of us just getting battered, bro, they were pulling ears and rattling, and we let it get to us. You know, Benjamin White's trying to fight Foden. Foden's still hiding behind stuff. As I would say to Phil Foden, I just wish, you know, you got all the chat for Benjamin Blanco, but what happened when your mum was getting punched in the face? He's a silly guy, man. And a coward you. You don't protect your mum. You don't protect women. Coward you. No matter how good you are, Foden, remember that. No matter how much money you get, no matter how many houses you buy, no matter how many Premier League trophies you win, someone tried to attack your own mother and you didn't back it. Yes, I'm sour. Imagine how much better Odegaard will become with a world-class 8 and a 6 next to him. Yeah, we haven't had that. And to be fair, Giroud was a bit of a mix of the old school, because I know Giroud wasn't quick, and even though I think Giroud's life needs to be made into a movie, you know, I do think people look at it with rose tints, but he had fantastic link-up play. Giroud's problem is we let Van Persie go, and we did what we used to do at Arsenal, like a guy that's part of the squad. we make you the main guy. Like even when you look at when France won the World Cup with Giroud, he weren't the main guy. He was a very great component that allowed Griezmann and Mbappe, Dembele to thrive, but they weren't reliant on him to score the goals or they'd be in trouble. Bro, Phil Foden back his mum, bro. Like, I ain't even making it up. I don't advocate violence, but the woman who probably was in labor for how much hours, you didn't back her and that, like slitting your eyebrows and that. Pussy, I'm on to Foden, man. Great player, though. Come sign for the Emirates, and all of this goes away, really. 49 likes, people. Keep going. Vlahovic and Ferran to Villa. Next season will be fire. Boy, Aston Villa really living up to their name of being villains, man. You know, Aston Villa, if they get it together, Brighton hold on to players, and Newcastle, these lot are going to start causing problems. As I've said before, for me, it's gone from a top 4 to a top 6. It will soon be a top 10. And I honestly believe maybe like 20 years, maybe more, that there'll be a stage where every team could get relegated or promoted. Then depends where you look at it. To me, Benjamin White and Foden beef could have happened during the World Cup because when Ben White left, apparently he fell out with the players and manager. Could be wrong. I don't know, man, because in Foden's defense, he did big up Benjamin White during the World Cup in training. No one will know what actually happened there really with Benjamin Blanco, and maybe unfortunately, you know, he won't get called up under Southgate, and considering there's a Euro, well, he's been called up technically for a Euros and a World Cup, but I don't know if his form continued. Like Benjamin White's had a great season. The only terrible game I've seen is when you got cooked by Rashford, but I don't know if Southgate will bet on him. Hear me out, DG, but I want a striker with an ego like Osimhen. Tony, I don't want no soft strikers. That's okay with missing chances. I hear that. Like I said, I want a dog. Like Henri's Henri in it, but Henri was pardon my language, a see you next Tuesday, the acronym. Like you don't want to play against Henri. He's a rat or not. Like, come on, man slapping free kicks. Is that enough? He believed in himself fully. And again, we need to be a bit nastier in terms of our tactics and our mentality. Nice guy, unfortunately, the world doesn't respect nice people. We should all be nice. And I'm not saying don't be nice, but football don't respect nice people. The world don't respect nice people. Nice guys finish last, really and truly. And I think that's reflected in football. Where I don't like to do all this, we're too nice. I start sounding like Souness and all of these guys. But I do think we're missing a trick not being a bit more rugged. As great as the Invincibles were, they can play you off the park. They can fuck you up off the park, really and truly. And that's what we need to be on, really. Like, we need to have a siege mentality. I think we've got better togetherness, and I'm reaching here, but if I remember correctly, when Benjamin White and Foden are getting into verbal, Trossard's not there. And I remember a few years ago, I might have been against Spurs, Theo Walcott's getting into handbags and no one's backing it. They can win that. Top Blue, shout out, man. Just shout out, man. Just allow it. But yeah, it'd be nice to have them guys. It would be nice to have them caliber of players, really and truly. Let's get into what's going on in the world of football. Where do we start? Tab police. There's less tabs, but there's still a lot of tabs. Let's scroll up to the top of this page for you guys and let's get into it. Smash the like button, folks. And yeah, apparently, let's pause this again, putting me off. Arsenal set Mikel Arteta's summer spending budget in fresh bid for Premier League title. Arsenal want to sign Declan Rice from West Ham and are also targeting a forward and defender. Now, once again, obviously, when you hear 150 million, you're like, bro, that's not really enough. You know, if you were to get Caicedo and Declan Rice, the money's kind of done, isn't it, really and truly? And we're going to need to probably rely on some donations and that. But we have to remember, and unless you're activating a release clause, transfer budgets factor in wages, which could also make you a bit nervous. But it's not a thing where a man costs 50 million, you're running them that 50 million in a week. You know, it's paid across time and things like that, like the true cost. So just because we have 150 million does not mean we can't do things. And we need to remember, we don't know how much this club does or doesn't have, because we've seen this before. Some windows we spent a lot more, sometimes we spent a lot less. But for what it's worth, you know, Mikel Arteta will have a budget of over, to be fair, it says over 150 million for the summer through player funds and through club funds and sales. I can't imagine, unless we make some unpopular decisions for sales, I can't imagine too much significant sales and whatnot. So yeah, as Arsenal manager seeks to further hone his squad for another Premier League title challenge, Arteta's priority is a midfielder, with West Ham's Declan Rice the main target, but the manager is also looking for another forward who can move into the centre and a defender. Those arrivals will be complemented by sales, with Arsenal willing to listen to offers for Kieran Tierney, Nelson, Balogun, Tavares and Pepe. I mean, Nelson, his contract's running down, so it don't matter what we're listening to. It says we're listening to offers. It doesn't mean we're actively trying to force people out. Tierney, I'm sure we'd keep him, but he wants to go allegedly. So there's that. Balogun, he wants to go. Tavares, not good enough. Pepe, ability is not really in question. It's all the other junk, and we're at where we're at now, really and truly. Arteta believes Arsenal have pushed themselves to the limit this season, but the exacting nature of the title challenge has given him further insight into where his squad is short. Of particular note has been how the team have adapted to certain absentees, with William Saliba's recent injury proving so crucial. We can cope with attacking injuries. We can't cope with defending injuries because that's our weak points, in my opinion. The club have seen a much higher level of potential signings express interest in the last few months because we're doing wavy stuff, with executives stating what a contrast it is to even 2 years ago. Whereas Arsenal struggled to attract a much lower profile target then, they now have reps of players in the highest bracket coming to them. Their return to the Champions League next season has greatly helped, but so has the image of the club as one of the most exciting teams in Europe. You do see Vlahovic and Milinkovic-Savic rumours, they turned us down, now they're on it. Arteta and the club board are still intent on being highly strategic and will not spend huge funds for the sake of it. Rice is a key target, but Arsenal may revive interest in Brighton's Caicedo, with buying Leverkusen's Diaby and Crystal Palace's Mark Gurhey among players they're also looking at. Moving away from that, people, you did see rumours come out yesterday that Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi is very close to accepting an offer to play at Arsenal next season. A move to Barcelona has been ruled out. Again, you've got to take things with a pinch of salt, because one of them Twitter dons that does all the Barca stuff. From the tone of Javi's report, as he says, Zubimendi would be very close to Arsenal. It's clear to me that he's basing it off rumours that link Zubimendi with Arsenal. So doubt it's his own info here. He's mostly reliable for Barca anyways, as he's close with Xavi and his staff. Now, Sociedad, 1, could be in the Champions League. 2, you got to remember, for the European-based clubs, I don't know about Copa America and AFCON and things, but there's a Euros in 2024. It's moving clubs in this summer can boost your chances of playing in the Euros for your country, or make it a negative impact. And also there's something with stability, because who knows, if you're Sociedad and you're going to be in the champs and Zubimendi's getting interest, he might say, I want to sign for Barca. I'll wait a year. I have no reason to leave Spain at this moment in time. So that's something to consider. But for what it's worth, I can't talk enough about Zubimendi. Obviously, when you're playing in Spain and you're seeing what Caicedo and Rice do in the Prem, for us Premier League followers, they're going to get the hype. Even Caicedo yesterday playing right back. We could do with that, really and truly. So I'm having Zubimendi. Mikel Arteta has started teaching Arsenal's powerful player how to play Xhaka's position. Smith Rowe hasn't had game time he would have wanted at Arsenal this season, but that could be about to change. Indeed, the England international has been competing for a spot in a very crowded area this season, with the likes of Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard, Vieira all ahead of him in the attacking midfielder pecking order. However, it seems as though a position change could be on the horizon for the powerful player. Would you describe Smith Rowe as powerful? Maybe a powerful dribbler, but I don't know about that, as much as I love him. According to Football.London, Smith Rowe is playing in central midfield in Arsenal's training these days, as Mikel Arteta tries to teach the youngster how to play in a deeper role. As we know, Arsenal don't have too much depth in midfield these days, but adding Smith Rowe into the mix would be a huge boost. Of course, Smith Rowe is unlikely to be playing Partey's deep line midfield position anytime soon due to his size, but he could be a great fit for Xhaka's number 8 role due to his ball carrying and passing abilities. There are improvements that need to be made defensively, but with a coach like Arteta working with him, he could well make this switch, which is true. Let's not forget, during his time at City, Arteta also helped David Silva make a similar switch to being a number 8. Fair enough, really. All you got to do is show him the tapes of Kevin, actually Grealish at Villa at times, David Silva, Santi Cazorla. You got Smith Rowe's a long way before he could be in these guys' realms, but these are guys, the man in the picture. There's a lot you could learn from Mr. Granit Xhaka. But what you do need to do is stay fit. 35 million player wants to play for Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. Celta Vigo youngster Gabby Vega loves Arsenal and really wants to play under Mikel Arteta. Over the last few months, the Gunners have been heavily linked with a move to sign Vega, who has a release clause of 35 million that can be triggered at the end of the season. Now, Spanish journalist Manu Saiz, forgive me for mispronunciation, told AS that the talented midfielder is a Gooner, and if there's a club he'll accept this summer, it's Arsenal. Come and join the litness. Come and join the litness. He's a wanted man at the moment. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barca, all interested in his services, but we're doing the youngster thing. But what I would say, Liverpool have been linked with half the, I do think all of the traditional top 6 are all linked with centre mids. I all think they need central midfielders, if I'm completely honest with you. But Liverpool, if you're Caicedo, if you're Rice, if you're him, not that you can walk into any team, but you probably back yourself walking there, then Casemiro and Eriksen, or Enzo Fernandez and Kante and Kovacic on paper, or, you know, Spurs is not a big club. Real Madrid and Barca, you could play for them, but you'd have to be patient. And Arsenal, obviously, were doing the youngster thing. So it depends, man. But apparently, you know, Sainz first revealed that Viga is an Arsenal fan over a month ago. The journalist has now shed more light on the youngster's future, claiming that if the Gunners make a bid to sign him, he'll likely accept the offer to move to the Emirates this summer. I mean, it could be worth, again, staying at Celta Vigo. The club in England he likes the most, which we published a while back, is Arsenal. Arsenal is the club. If Arsenal get into the bidding for Viga, then they'll most likely get him, because he enjoys the football Arsenal play and he would like to work with Arteta. It's football and he would have an advantage there. But not that it doesn't make sense, but the 20-year-old, you've had a good season, you've emerged. You could just stay at Celta Vigo, you know. It makes sense. Also need a fullback and centre-back, but we got to get deep. I hear that. At least we're getting some money in. Apparently, Fulham will pay Arsenal a further $2 million for Leno after securing their Premier League status for next season. After the deal initially worth $3 million, which is too little as it is, included performance-related add-ons, another $2 million will be due if Fulham stay up again next season, on top of a further $1 million based on PL appearances, taking the total transfer fee to $8 million. So you hope all them variables are hit, really. Declan Rice is Arsenal's priority target in central midfield. Rice is open to joining Arsenal, but West Ham's $100 million valuation could yet prove a stumbling block. Lavia is also of interest, while the club remain keen on Caicedo. Smash the like button, folks, and don't forget, completely shameless promotion, please smash the like button, not only on this video but this one that you lot see here. On Sunday we're watching the game together, but getting back on task with things, people. Some money we have got in, you know, to go with the Leno stuff. Monza will make Pablo Mari's loan deal from Arsenal permanent this summer for $6 million. Mari has already agreed personal terms via Fabrizio Romano. At centre-back, as we know, Guerhi has impressed Arsenal's recruitment specialist this season, but Arsenal, one of many PL clubs, including Spurs, who are keen on Guerhi this summer. You know, Agate, someone mentioned him. When you look at the most tackles in the Portuguese league, he's made 109. Most tackles in the Champions League this season, and you got to remember, Sporting went out in the group stages 29, so the young Uruguayan could be an option as well. Arsenal ready to rival Manchester United, it says here, for 50 million attacking transfer for 50 million attacker transfer in major spending spree. Arsenal reportedly are ready to compete with the likes of Man United for the transfer of Bayern Leverkusen winger Moussa Diaby. The French international is enjoying another strong season in the Bundesliga, and it looks like being a man in demand ahead of next season, with Arsenal alongside Man United, Newcastle and Real Madrid. You also have to remember PSG as potential suitors, according to the Daily Mail. We'll have to see. Diaby is one of a number of targets for the North London Giants, with the report also mentioning Arteta wants 2 central midfielders. I do too. A centre-back, I do too. And a versatile attacker. It will likely cost around 50 million. So we'll have to see. But all of them clubs are all attractive in their own right, people. What is this? Again, I think this is the same thing. Again, with Diaby, he's being linked with a move back to his homeland and his former club, you know, in Paris Saint-Germain. And Paris Saint-Germain, allegedly, they're going to bet on young French players. And it makes sense, you know. You can link up with Mbappe and that and all these things. He's got 14 goals and 10 assists in 42 appearances across all comps, people. So yeah, it makes sense, people. But they've got Diaby contracted until 2025, so it could make sense to sell him now, or it could make sense to hold on to him if he does go to the Euro. So we'll have to see. He's welcome. What is this? I just saw something. Again, we all know Caicedo played fullback yesterday, and he showed his versatility playing right back, doing a job there. Caicedo completely pocketed Rashford, really. So yeah, and that's his touches in the first half. He also had a chance in the second half, I believe, where he could have scored. Completely off topic, but that's good. Apparently, Arsenal are tracking Croatian defender Solato as they target a centre-back this summer. Now, I don't know him like that, you know, from what you could see of him, people. He looks fairly competent on, you know, in defence. Not the most expansive in possession, but Croatia always produce good players. If we think this 23-year-old is the guy, then we need a centre-back in it, so bring him. And he is quite decent in Football Manager. I don't believe the report's under budget anyways as well, but it does mean we have 156 mil as well. You're right now, people. For what it's worth, he's caught the eye of a number of clubs around Europe. Standard Sport understand Dynamo, he plays for Dynamo Zagreb in his homeland, are likely to demand around 18 million for Solato, so he would be a lot cheaper than Guerhi. And while no formal talks have taken place, Arsenal are scouting him as they weigh up their defensive options. Palace are likely to demand a significant fee for Guerhi, given he's an England international and has 3 years left on his contract. And also, if we buy Guerhi, Chelsea have a sell-on clause. Arsenal are ready to back Arteta in the transfer market as they prepare to return to the Champions League for the first time in 6 years. The Gunners want to sign at least one central midfielder. We all know Declan Rice is our top target. Interest remains in Caicedo, and we all know he signed a new deal, so you have to look at that. We all know Reece Nelson rejected the first contract offer and was set on paper to lose him now. He has not started a Premier League game for Arsenal since December 2019, so for all his squad appearances and him being a bit of a cult hero for Bournemouth, it depends. He's got, I mean, for against Bournemouth, it depends. The 23-year-old has been linked with AC Milan, Brighton, and a bunch of other clubs. So, pardon me, we'll have to see how it goes, man. You know, we could lose Nelson, Patino. We've lost Ainsley. He said he's busting out. Obviously, Balogun, we don't know what's going to happen, but reports say he wants to keep it moving. So it kind of is what it is in that regard. 60 likes, people. Can we get to 100? We've already spoken about Gabby Vigo. What is this? Dynamo Zagreb have set an asking price of 18 million for him, which doesn't cost the most. I mean, I don't think Holding will go. I think he'll stay for a year, but if there's an offer, we've got something to consider. We've been linked with Ferran Torres, who's been linked with Aston Villa, and Rafinha, we've forever been linked with. We know, probably because we're looking at a winger. That's why you're going to see the Rafinhas, the Ferrans, the Fatties, the Pedro Netos, the Musa Diabis, and the Zahas, anyone that can kind of fill in them roles. Arsenal will look to sign a right-sided winger this summer ahead of their return to the Champions League. 90 Minute understands. Sources have told 90 Minute that the North Londoners are targeting a right winger, centre-back, central midfielder, and perhaps a central forward. I mean, nobody's listing right-backs. There are several players on Arsenal's shortlist for wingers, including Barcelona duo Rafinha and Ferran Torres. 90 Minute reported in January that the Gunners targeted the duo as alternatives to Chelsea-bound Mudryk before eventually settling on a more attainable option in Trossard, people. Once again, Declan Rice seems to be the guy. I think they would still prefer Rice over Mount. Conversations are required on both fronts to determine how attainable each player is and their pricing. But Rice is Arsenal's top target as it stands. So unless Mason Mount was available at a silly low price, which there's no sign of, then I think Declan stays as the top priority until such a time can happen. We'll have to see, man. But until we sign Declan Rice, it is getting a bit boring. Obviously, we'd all prefer Declan over Mount, not to disrespect Mount. Tierney's been linked with Aston Villa, where he could link up with his old coach. So you've got either Newcastle or Aston Villa. That could be a good project for you. And Aston Villa are also linked with Vlahovic, who we're linked with as well, people, as well as Musa Diaby. And actually, who's the other one we're linked with? Villa have been linked with Musa Diaby, Smith Rowe, Kieran Tierney. And there's another big money target that Arsenal are linked with as well that they have. But it's escaped my mind. Wenger's backed us to win the challenge for the Prem next season. We've kind of seen this with Smith Rowe. Arsenal very close to first summer signing as Mikel Arteta begins transfer business back to Zubimendi. Allegedly, we're very close. We'll have to see. But did he not say he doesn't want to? In January, he said he predicts he'll have a quiet summer. So we'll have to see exactly what's happened. He's been capped once for Spain. Maybe a move to Arsenal could boost his chances. So we'll have to see. So yeah, they could be set to be in the champs. And it would cost 52.5 million, which is still expensive. But that's significantly cheaper than whatever is touted for Caicedo or what's the other one? Declan Rice. Again, earlier this year in January, he said rumors, because I told my reps that I didn't want to listen to anything, much less in the winter. Leaving Real Sociedad behind with the season we're having would be illogical. I'm very happy here. I'm expecting a calm summer beyond the release clause. When someone wants to be at a club, the clause doesn't matter. I think it's a balanced clause with all aspects that the contract brought together. Nothing more than that. Arteta, put the sweeteners on, man. Put the sweeteners off. You're both Spanish. You're both from that region. We're doing wavy stuff. He can play in midfield. Gas him up, Arteta, man. Go and gas him up, man. I don't want to hear none of that. You need to be arriving at the Emirates. Mark Gurr, he shouts again. We've been over that. What's this? Gabriel could be back for Newcastle, which would be great news. Let's see what Goal.com's transfer column has said. You know, we've covered all of that yesterday. But as you can see here, for what it's worth, we've been linked with Fresnadar, Paulino, Watkins, listening to offers for Tierney, Balogun, and Xhaka, Mason Mount, PSG looking at Saka, Lol, Gravenberch, Kante, Zaha, Victor Rogue. If you follow my live streams, we've seen that all every day now today, haven't we? So just scrolling up, Paulino wouldn't be the worst. It's just Zubimendi, really, Ferran Torres once again. So again, the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately, and we're going to get linked with a bunch of players. We very well probably interested in a bunch of players, but interest to actually buy in, as you lot know, is very different. So we'll have to look at that. Spending on this squad will never be for the sake of it. Waiting for the summer links to Savic again. Charles, it ain't started yet. Yuri transfer moves season 2 this summer. Yeah, but I can't wait to hear his agents bid at London, Coley and all of that. Don't forget to hit the like button. We all know Mikel's ways of transfer. Just wait and see, but we got to get deep. We need first team starters, upgrades, and genuine competitions for all places. Hear that? We need 2 middle fielders. I think you mean midfielders, 1 striker, 1 right winger, 1 right-sided centre-back, and a left back if Tierney leaves. I hear that. Thoughts on Solato? I remember him being very decent at the World Cup, but he didn't get much praise he deserved because Galvidal stole the limelight. Phil, as you said there, I'd rather that Galvidal, he looks decent and he looks a better player than when he played at the Euros. But Solato, from what I see, which is limited knowledge, looks like a fairly steady Eddie, and respectfully to Holding, looks like an upgrade on that. So if you can come in and do what you need to do, is calm. Zubimendi is good, but I need Declan Rice and Caicedo for the pivot position. I think the crucial thing that Arsenal should do is go deep in the transfer window, get players who they need. I believe we get. Arsenal should be proud of what they've gone through. This team is going to get better. In fact, I believe in the board this time. We're going to get more than 150 million also if we get Telemans. To be honest, I'd love us to spend more. I don't care if we spend less. I just want to, I don't know how you do it. I don't care how you do it. Just when the September comes and the window's closed, for me, we have an 8. We have a 6. We have a right-sided centre-back. We've potentially got a right-back. That's all I want to know, innit? Like, however you lot do it, make it happen, innit? You got to find the balance of smart additions and big money signings, which I think we're getting to, but we'll have to see, really. We'll have to really see. Like, the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately, as you lot already know. So it's going to be an interesting summer. As I said, we're going to get linked with a lot of players. Probably going to go full circle for the Rafinhas, the Pedro Netos, the Neves, the Telemans, the Savages. You know, Declan Rice is going to be here, all the time. We've been here before. Until it's signed on the dotted line, people holding shirts, people are lying that they always supported Arsenal growing up and all of that jazz. Take it with a pinch of salt, really and truly. We'll have to see. Large up DG, let me go slap the like on YouTube too right quick. I appreciate that. Twitch gang, one love. In just over an hour, we're playing Football Manager. We've got the Carling Cup final, ironically, against your club, Man United, and we have the second leg of the game against Dortmund. And later today, people, I'm going to have Kendall, who's a Newcastle fan. It's not going to be live. We're going to record it, and that will be out. Just preview Newcastle, Arsenal on Sunday. Check out the rest of the content if you haven't already, man. You watched the clip? Yeah, Foden it back his mum, man. Don't want to hear it from Foden. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, subscribe with Amazon Prime. So yeah, man, as long as we do the right business, that's all that matters. Let me see if there's any emerging new Arsenal talking points as well. Arsenal to make a late call on Gabriel injuries, defensive options dwindle Arteta. In the same way, I think Arteta's amassed a great squad and he's doing great things. We know we're in trouble if certain injuries happen. So I don't have much sympathy for any manager, really. What's all of this? In fact, while we're talking about bringing in 6 million for Pablo Mari, this article said Arsenal is set to lose some of the money they'll make from the sale of Pablo Mari to his former club. The Spaniard joined them from Flamengo as one of Mikel Arteta's first signings, but he has since lost his first team place, which made them sanction his move to Monza at the beginning of this term. The Italian side agreed to make the move permanent if they secured their top flight status. Let's skip to the beginning. However, a report on Odia reveals his former club Flamengo will get 40% of the money the Gunners will receive because of an agreement both clubs had when he initially joined the Gunners. So, at least we get his wages off the book. I don't know what 40% of 6 million would be. You lot that are great at maths, you lot take the floor. But yeah, for me, it's just the fact that the wages are gone. Better than nothing. The club should prioritize signings in midfield and the back line. I hear that. Defense wins titles. I genuinely hear that. But apart from that, it doesn't seem like there's much Arsenal news, really and truly. If I'm completely honest with you. And it all depends what you lot make of this. Again, players could leave, but it looks like Saliba's had some renovations. Saliba hints at staying at Arsenal with new home gym installation. That don't mean nothing. He's got money to make himself a next one if he goes somewhere. But he has hinted he plans to stay after a French retailer posted pictures on Instagram of a new home gym being installed at his London property. Probably means he's got no reason to leave. But if you got money, well, you can have a couple of yards in a couple of countries. Apparently, Saliba's current deal with Arsenal expires in 2024, but the transfer expert David Ornstein said there was no evidence of a new agreement being closed. Despite this, the new home gym installation suggests that Saliba is committed to staying. We'll have to see, man. Hopefully we get over the line in that regards. But until he signed the deal, boy, anything's up for grabs, really. Apparently, Brighton CEO confirms they'll be outgoing this summer following Arsenal's interest in Caicedo. He said, "I think every club these days is a selling club to some extent. Our challenge is to make sure that when we do lose players, we've got a player either already in the door, which is our ideal position, or coming back very quickly after them." And when you look at it, Brighton are getting their shit together very quickly. You know, it looks like McAllister, I think, will be one of the first confirmed signings when the market officially opens. There's rumors he'll go for 70 million. You know, Brighton, they're buying players for pennies, you know, and they've got 50 million for Benjamin White. They're going to get 70 odd for Caicedo. Cucurella went for 60. They'll get anything from 50 to 70 for McAllister, allegedly. It is what it is. And when you look at them, they're apparently they've got Milner, allegedly. They're obviously trying to get Nelson. It's confirmed they've got the Watford guy, João Pedro. So they're already doing it. And they know that the Caicedos of this world, the Matomas of this world, these guys will be sold for big money. So it all depends. There's always going to be bigger clubs playing at a higher level, looking to take our best people, but all we can do is perform at our highest potential. We try to create the best possible environment we can for our own players, so they want to stay here. And to be fair, you know, I don't think Brighton players will force it. They're going to be in the champs and whatnot. Pundit suggests Arsenal sign 31-year-old Lewis Dunk. I can't lie to you. Big up Adrian Clark. I hope to have him on the show, as we always do. I can't lie, as in the Rob Holding spot, I'm on that. You just do your defending thing. You can pass out from the back. He knows how to defend. I'm for it, really and truly. I'm not against it. Once again, we've been linked with Ferran Torres. Ugh. And apparently Lavia is on the short list. City's buyback clause of Lavia is not active until next summer. Obviously, it seems like Chelsea have taken the lead in that regard. So we're going to have to see exactly what these things are saying, man. But the dream is free. Arsenal sold separately. Imagine Arteta with 600 million this summer. We'd be untouchable. Hey, too much money can be harsh. We shipped out Yapstam just as he got a new kitchen fitted. But yeah, I do expect Saliba to stick around for a while yet. Brighton are so well run, they'll invest a third of the fee for McAllister and do it all over again. Bro, they probably have the McAllister's replacement already lined up. You can't, you know, not have anything but praise for Brighton. They're doing the right things. Dunk's wavy. I'm surprised no one has come for him since he's been in the league, because he's not him. The Dan Burns of this world. They're not sexy signings. They're competent side. They're not sexy. Like, I'm having them because I think we're very naive defensively, and obviously one man can't make a change. But I wouldn't mind Dunk in the holding role because he understands defending. Obviously Brighton play attractive football. He's good with the ball at his feet, and he's got that perfect blend of all of that crap. But remembering what defending's about, like people that love defending, street smart Donnies, but he's not a sexy signing. He's 31, man. I can't lie. If he takes that holding role for a couple of years, I'm all on that. By all means, I'm not saying he's number one, but I'm all for that. And by that logic, you know, I know we need more youth, but you've still got Jorginho here. You've still got, you know, Granit Xhaka party. They're getting on a bit El Nene as well. For, you know, it's only just the other day that Fernandinho bust out of City, and you've got Scott Carson in and around. I'm taking respectfully to Rob Holding. Rob Holding's at 27, 28, 31-year-old Dunk is better than you. And they're gonna ask too much money for Dunk at 31. They'd have to be a bit sensible, but yeah, I'm not saying we should do it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be against it because he's street smart. He's someone that you could bet on in the trenches defensively. But if I'm real, I think you have to understand a certain level of football to kind of get the logic behind him not being a terrible signing for anyone. It's not going to happen, but it's just talking point really and truly. But yeah, Brighton are well run, and we should prioritize the spine of our squad: central midfield, right back, right-sided centre back, and obviously, depending on what Tierney wants to do or does or doesn't do, that is a region as well. So it'd be interesting to see what we do, but who knows, man. On that note, though, I'm live at 4:30 with you lot to play Football Manager. We've got a League Cup final. Don't forget, people, as I said, on Sunday, we are watching Arsenal versus Newcastle, Newcastle versus Arsenal. I'll be live an hour before kickoff. Big up to the 10 people, including myself, who have hit that like button. Shout out to my guy Matisse as well, hitting 50k subs as well. Big him up, even though he's a Chelsea fan. Many may have missed the boat on the topic, but I laugh when fans think they can get Osimhen for 80 mils max. Bro, Napoli are difficult to do business with. They're difficult to negotiate with. They spent the bag, as you said, on him. They're not going to let him go for cheap, innit? And he's a good aerial threat. But we'll get to see what Dunk's all about, the Emirates. But yeah, on that note, going to go get a quick bit of late lunch. You know, I run out of time. I left gym, showered just to get here for you lot. My belly's been rumbling all stream, but I do it for you lot, man. I put my body on the line for you lot, man. Without you lot, the channel is dead in it. So yeah, appreciative to you lot tuned in. You lot stay safe, stay blessed, smash the like button. If you haven't, turn on your notifications. Check out the other videos, especially what I did with the different knock and Tom Canton of Gooner Talk TV. Big them up. Make sure you're following them and all those good things. Stay blessed, stay safe, enjoy what's left of your day/weekend, and we'll link up again soon, people.
You always use that active red light, defending.
I think it's like.